I almost bought a restaurant. It was one of the big mistakes I almost made early on in the acquisition journey. There was low risk on any of that front. It did historically decent numbers. The wine and food, and it all really pairs and goes hand in hand. It opens up a lot of doors for you. I think they print money comparatively, the stress level that you have to take in the competition. So why didn't I buy it? A couple $100,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year net. I didn't get a great deal on my HVAC. The SBA requires a 10-year lease signed from the ownership. He was utilizing patio space that wasn't his. It worried me that they told me directly that's not going to happen anymore. I almost bought a restaurant. So I know I talk about home services and how much I love mechanics. I mean, that's my background. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy fixing things. But I almost bought a restaurant. It was one of the big mistakes I almost made early on in the acquisition journey. There's a few reasons behind it. The first one was the restaurant was close to my house in Napa, so I could still live there. I could move back. There was low risk on any of that front. It did decent numbers. It did historically decent numbers, even through COVID. And it was a breakfast and lunch only restaurant right in the prime location in downtown Napa. And Napa has this beautiful, if you've never been there, it's a wine and food, and it all really pairs and goes hand in hand. And so there's a beauty to this being in that industry, in that town. It opens up a lot of doors for you. It's a lot of fun because you're dealing with winemakers and you're putting people's wine in your store, so you get to go out and taste it. And so we almost went down that rabbit hole. I flew out there back because I was traveling the country at the time. My house was less than a mile away, so I could walk. It would satisfy my eating breakfast with my family, but definitely eating dinner because the store closed at about 4. They didn't serve dinner. Breakfast only. I love breakfast spots. I mean, I think they print money comparatively, at least comparatively to stress, the stress level that you have to take in the competition. There's really no breakfast spots in downtown Napa that only do amazing breakfasts. So why didn't I buy it? So if I remember correctly, the numbers they were nice. Like they were good numbers. A couple $100,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year net. You know, it was priced decently. I mean, looking back, it was a downtown spot in Napa that was brokered, so it wasn't that great. I didn't get a great deal on my HVAC, so I mean, it was comparable to that. But what killed me at the very end and what saved me, and I guess not killed me, it saved me, was when I flew out there, the SBA requires a 10-year lease signed from the ownership, which I also wanted at the time because it was a downtown location restaurant. It hinges on being in that spot that it's in. If it were to move anywhere else in Napa or anywhere else in the country, it wouldn't survive. It wouldn't be the restaurant anymore. You couldn't charge $20 for huevos rancheros. It's just not going to happen. So when I go down there to meet the SBA requirement, I meet with the landlords that own that property, and 2 giant red flags. First red flag, he was utilizing patio space that wasn't his. So it was a common area, but because of COVID, the landlords allowed him to push his patio space 10 tables out into an area that was not his. And so that worried me. It worried me that they told me directly, that's not going to happen anymore. You are no longer going to be able to do that once you sign the lease. And so, I mean, being out on the riverfront in Napa, being, kind of outside is huge. It's a beautiful patio. So that was the first spot, right? Our first red flag. One, that he was violating lease terms to make those numbers, but also that I wouldn't be able to violate those lease terms to make them. And 2, and the most importantly, he had a sweetheart deal with the owner of the building for 20 years, no rent increases. Not a single rent increase in 20 years. And that's the numbers that they were using as a historic average. But realistically, the minute that I would take that spot over, they would jump. they would jump, I think it was 4x, 5x, which absolutely crushed the last remaining net in there. And that was the problem. And so he, after I backed out of the deal, I don't think the deal sold. I think he still is running it because it doesn't make sense for anyone else. So that is how I almost bought a restaurant and why I didn't. Very happy I didn't. Looking back, I mean, it wouldn't have suited me. I'm not a restaurateur, I'm a tradesman. So anyway, good luck. And if you're looking for business, happy hunting.